Greetings, crafters. This is Created by Chaos. Now, before I begin, if you hear any sort of weird sounds in the background, it's starting to rain here and we've got a bit of thunder and lightning happening. So don't be too surprised if you hear it rumbling in the background. That is not my stomach, that is outside. Now, I have been doing a lot of 3D printing, and I mean a lot. You can more than likely tell this desk is full, and trust me, it is all over the place. Unfortunately, I'm waiting for my shop to be free so I can move into. And in the meantime, I'm a little cramped for space, so please bear with me. What I want to talk to you today about is one of the problems with resin printing is sometimes you can get problems, gaps, print maybe not working properly, and so forth. Now, a prime example is when I've literally just taken off the printer a couple of hours ago. We have this, and I know what's happened. I understand how this happened, and I can reprint it again, and away I go. However, this is, in some respects, tickles me pink because I can convert this. I can play around with it. So my first idea was to remove this window and put in like a little skeleton sort of up against the glass, sort of staring back out. This is supposed to be a wizard's tower. This, I was just going to green stuff in and so forth, then maybe have some spell scrolls, sort of like stapled to the outside and such, and put like this covered with moss and so forth. And this is one thing I find very funny with a lot of 3D printers. They go, oh, damn, I'll have to reprint that again, and then they just chuck it away. This is making your own bits box for modeling. All right, so let's say, for example, I do it the way I want, and it comes out terribly. I'll just print it again. And then this can be used as a bit of scattered terrain on the ground, or, I'll make something else out of it, whatever I want. It is fun, and I don't like wasting stuff. So, yeah, skeleton here, green stuff across here, maybe some scrolls, or I might actually put like a little gargoyle hanging off the edge here or something, some moss on here and such, a bit of flock and so forth, make this all rotting and old anyway. And hell, it's a wizard's tower, man. These things are supposed to be spooky as hell anyway, so, what's the problem with it being a little strange? But that is for another video. Another problem with 3D printing, and this one happens a little often, not very, but still it's annoying, and that is called warping. So we have our print here. Now, to look at it, it looks okay, until you have a closer look and you realize it's got a gap. And what's happened is when it's on the printer like that, either for one reason or another, it's maybe just popped off just a smidge, and then when it dries a little bit, it'll just shrink a little bit, and away we go. Now, what I would normally do is just attach some green stuff to the base, and away you go. The problem with that is, how much green stuff do I use? It's a certain gap. Now, if I wasn't going to use the inside and paint the inside, it wouldn't be a problem. I'd just stick it down, and away we go. But I've deliberately, this was originally one piece. Now, I noticed on the inside, it has, a trapdoor. It's got some wooden floors and so forth. So I thought, if I cut it in half, I can then paint that and just, then stick it back together. Now, these files come from a very talented man called Ian Lovecraft. Now, Ian has done some amazing stuff. I've got over here one of his clock towers that he's done. Beautiful, beautiful thing. And it stands on this, absolutely insanely huge thing. It's just absolutely massive. The problem is that I don't think Ian has resin printing in mind when he makes this stuff, because this part was hollow, not a problem. This center part here, I had to make solid in one solid piece. I couldn't get a hole in there for drainage. So, and by drainage, I mean, it's usually got a hole at the bottom. So this part, I was able to put a drainage hole in. This top part here, no, I had to make this all solid, and it just means I'm using twice as much resin, and it's a little heavy. And, it's a little top heavy to begin with, and so forth. This part here, once again, I was able to make that part hollow. That's not a problem. And this part was hollow as well. I was able to hollow that out. So that wasn't a problem. So with Ian, I've noticed the fact that something like this is massive. And what I've done is I've done a big hole in the bottom. This way, if I want to, I can drill some little holes in there and maybe have a little LED light so the light can flutter up and so forth. I don't know yet, but it gives me that option later on. And also, the amount of resin it would have used to print this entire thing would be massive. You know, we're talking about 1.5 liters or something like this. It is really huge. You know, it's astronomically big, and it would have been really heavy. So hollowing out is always a better option. So anyway, getting back to what I was doing. So I've got a bit there, and I'm going to put that other bit there. Now, normally, like I said, I would just stick it down, but I had an idea, and I've never done this before, so bear with me because I could be very wrong. I've just got some baking paper from the kitchen. I'm sure it won't be missed. Baking is not my forte. And what I'm going to do is, baking paper is non-stick. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some lucky bands and I'm just going to wrap it around. My lucky band should do, I don't need that other one. So what I've essentially done is, if anything's going to stick to it, now this stuff is non-stick, so I should be able to get some green stuff, pop it in that gap, and away we go. Now, problem number 2. I'm running low on green stuff, and if I'm going to do that other one, you know, I'm going to need some more of this. Now, the good thing is that green stuff, I mean, you normally used to buy this stuff at Games Workshop, not a problem. Recently, they've been no longer selling it, which means you can only get it from Green Stuff World, which is in the USA. I think there's a few places, maybe locally, you can get it, but I don't know. I've ordered, I think it's 2 feet of this stuff. You know, let's buy bulk while we can. Let's face it, I use it. Why not? And I'd rather have it here and not need it than need it and not have it here. All right, so normal green stuff, as always, you knead it together, and blue and yellow goes together, and what does it make? It makes green. Okay, so we'll just knead this together. Now, for those that are interested, I will no longer be printing anything en masse for the moment. I will be taking a bit of a break and painting what I've got and doing other bits and pieces. And also the fact is, I would actually like some time to relax and just do stuff that I would like to do. Play some computer games. Who knows? It could happen. Okay. Who am I kidding? I love this too much. So there we go. It's nice and green. Okay, so it's green stuff for a reason. All right. So normally what I do is I try to figure out exactly the how and the whys. Now, I've popped it on the base here because it's about as stable as it's going to get. If I put it on the table, it's not its natural environment. It's actually got a groove inside of it. So, you know, it's got that and that. So, if anything, that's going to help it out stay there. So, what we have is a little bit of a ridge there. Okay, so what I tend to do is, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run it across here. For the most part, actually, that's got a little nibble there. I might just and once again, these things are absolutely wonderful. I got them from Games Workshop. They had absolute lifesaver. They're just so handy. You know, I use them in all sorts of bizarre little things, especially with resin printing in particular. Absolute godsend. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to run it across this ridge, and then we'll see how we do. Now, the most part of it going to have to be on here. I don't think I've got enough green stuff, but we will see. So what I try to do is I try to start at one end and then stretch it, if it can stretch, across. Now, the interesting thing I find with green stuff, and when I say interesting, I mean a pain in the ass, is the fact that it's really, really good at what it does once it sticks there. Until then, it's quite annoying, and it just won't stick down. So I'm not doing this in a fine edge at the moment. I'm more interested in making sure the fact that I've got enough all the way around. a little bit of a lip on the inside, but not too much. Realistically speaking, you want it on that outside ledge as much as possible. Okay, so what you might find is the fact that that could be close. All right, so when we pop it down, we can twirl it around. We can see the fact that, for the most part, look at that, we're done. Right, so there's a little bit of a gap here. On this side, don't know if you can tell that, but that is, oh my God, I may have actually done it spot on first time. Holy moly. Well, it has been a miracle. Oh no, there's a little gap there I've got to fill in, so I'm not all the way there. But yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so I'm just going to wrap off a little bit more of this green stuff. Now, I find green stuff is a bit like Dr. Jekyll. I either have way too much left over, or I've never got enough, and it's very annoying. For those that don't know, I will be, this is going to be a Wizard's Tower, and it originally was from Ian Lovecraft. Like I said, it was supposed to be a crow's nest, and a crow's nest is very nice and everything, but I thought, why not make it a Wizard's Tower? Now, the Wizard's Tower normally has like a big steeple on top of it, like a huge, a bit like this, but in a much bigger form. But I have a different idea, and I'll show you in a minute. And I've also want to show you why it's so important that I get this done properly. All right, so I'm going to get the old Citadel tool here that I use sometimes. All right, and realistically speaking, I'm just making like a little snake. Now, as I've said before, this stuff is mildly toxic. So after finishing this, before I go off and nibble on some, pork crackling or something like that, make sure you wash your hands. Okay. Right, get that in there. Okay. Now the beautiful thing is, if it's going to meld with anything, it's going to meld with this paper, and the paper is non-stick. And on that rare chance, oh, there's a bit of support there. Oh, what do you mean? And even on that rare chance that it doesn't stick to that, does stick to it, sorry, the paper can just be peeled off. So that's not a huge problem for me. Okay, so we're just going to smear that across there. Now, there we go. I think for the most part, we're now done. Now, what I've had to do is make sure, I've had to align that up with the bottom, because that's the key bit here. All right, so, all right. So, yeah. Now what will happen is, I got spare parts, yay! So what I'll do is that bit that was already damaged, I might as well just use this on here a little bit. What I might actually do is try sticking it from the inside. Actually, no. What I'll do is I'll just stick it where the window is. This is the largest gap here, where the window is. And that's where I'm going to do the cutting of the... So I'm just kneading that in, just trying to get it in bit by bit by bit. And then I'll get that tool. And now I'll just prop it up against either side. All I'm trying to do at the moment is give it a bit of a look. Now, I can easily tell that I've not got enough to do the wood part in there just yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use it mostly as filler. And, you get those crazy thoughts. Bugger it, let's just let's get the last of this green stuff out and do it on this. Why not? We're gonna go for a twofer. Now I was gonna do this in another video, but you know, I'm here. My hands are covered in green stuff. Let's just get it done. Okay. And I'm an idiot because I just realized I've got another pack of green stuff, so I'm safe. I must have bought ahead and then tucked it down in the drawer there, not realizing it, and now I'm looking for it and I found it. So yes, I've got some more stuff on order and I have that there. So always good to plan ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Now, please, if you do like my videos, could you please like it and subscribe to it and leave a comment if you want. Most people have left comments and I'm quite happy to ask. Somebody recently asked about Uncle Jesse using talcum powder with liquid resin to make like a paste and so forth. And I have tried that. I tried that about 1.5 years ago. And I tried it with corn flour, I tried it with normal flour, talcum powder, and a few other bits and pieces. And yes, it does work really well, except for one small problem. You find after about 2-3 months, it starts to crumble on you. And crumble, especially if it's a support like that, you don't want it to crumble. And that was the big problem. That's why I stopped using it. I was using it originally in a syringe, a bit like cake pastry is used, like, you know, just to squirt it into areas and such, and that gave me more control. But, as I said, after a while, I had a couple of very nice, beautiful buildings, and they were starting to crumble on me. Okay, so all I'm doing is stretching it out and trying to get it in those gaps. This isn't rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. This is just as much science as it is art, if not art, and a little bit of science. Okay. All right, so we're getting it in there. It reminds me a little bit of you know, my childhood with finger painting, to be honest with you. Okay. Now, what you want to do with this is you want to squeeze it into the gaps as much as you can, but you also want to leave the outside, you know, reasonably smooth. Like I said, I've just dropped a little bit on the ground. Like I said before, this stuff is sandable, so if you do want to, you know, sand something down, you can. That's not a problem. And I have made way too much. Oh, dear. All right, well, I know what I'll do with that, but you know, that's a different story. Okay, I'll show you that later on. Okay, so I've got enough now that I can do that. A bit of the wood, so that'll be good. Well, I'm kind of excited about ripping all that out now and popping skeletons in there. Skeletons in the closet, skeletons in the windows. Yes, I know, I'm a child. I'm a man-child. And I get excited about silly things. Okay, so we're just going to get it back into that groove. Okay, now you can maybe see there's little gaps here. You can still see through there and such. They're the bits you just want to get little bits and just whack it on. And then hopefully not drop it on the ground. And then using your tool, you just want to whack it in and away we go. So all we're doing is popping it in there. Don't be shy about it, you know, just slide it in and away we go. What you want to do is you want to make sure, there we go, so that's a problem I hate. It goes in nice and easy, and then it comes out nice and easy. There we go. Now, if you've got an imagination like I do, and what you do is, you'll just, see, my brain is already ticking over at what I can do and what I can't do. And what I can't do is very, very small, and what I can do is really, really large. So what I'm thinking here is still going ahead with the scroll idea. So now, before I forget, you've got this part here. Just get your little thing and rub it across there and just make like little wood lines and such. It doesn't have to be amazing, as long as it follows the basic idea. That's the important thing. Okay. We're not winning art shows at the moment. This is hobby. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Don't get me wrong, I'm an annoying perfectionist, and I'll more than likely be spending a lot of time on this after it's all been filled and so forth, and playing around with it and such. That's just what I am. Okay, so you just want to get it in there. So my way of thinking is what I can and can't do. So what I can do is, like I said, it's the Wizard's Tower. So I can cover this with a lot of flock if it comes out badly. Or what I can do is I can do a paint job where it's a lot of black. It's very, very dark across here. Maybe have a hangman, or like I said, a bit hanging out like a gargoyle, and just have that. So it just takes away from the actual problem itself. Now, there we go. Now we've only got this little bit here, this little gap here to do, and then we're pretty much done. Okay, so let me just wrap it in there. And it's this tiny little crack really, so it's not a major concern. Oh, that cold breeze is coming through that window. Whew. Okay, so yeah, all right, so there we go. What I'll do is I'll cut out this window once this is all dried up. And there you go, look, it's fixed. I don't have to print this again, really. Now, I wanted to show you what I was going to do. Now, Ian Lovecraft printed all of this, except for one little bit. So we have this bit, and this bit sits on there, which I won't put on at the moment because we're waiting for that to dry. And then this bit goes on top, which is why that has to be perfect, because it has to, oh, that's not going to fit. Oh, there we go. So that fits in there. So you really want that to be nice and on straight, you know, because you know, you don't want it to be leaning at any point because it's going to be quite top heavy. Once again, Ian, great ideas. I just wonder sometimes if you had resin in mind. And that's where it's going to be changed. So Ian would have a big sort of like crow's looping tower on top. Get in focus. Please get in focus. A looming tower on top, and maybe have another little tower on the side. I'm going to take it a little bit differently, and I'm going to put in that, which is like a big telescope. So what will happen is, you know, the miniature, you know, you can have like a wizard. You know, this isn't a wizard, this is a Necromunda model, but it'll do. So you can have a wizard up there looking through the scope and so forth. So that will sit on top and so forth. Now, the wonderful thing is I can take that off, put the Wizard's Tower back on there if I want to. And if I want, oh well, just change it around and pop that on there. So, and this is a beautiful piece. This is from Aether Studios. They did like a steampunk style Kickstarter. Aether, you have done some amazing work. The level of detail in this thing is absolutely stunning. It's going to come out beautiful. All right, so once again, it's really just trying out different things. Have any questions, please ask, and I'll be happy to help you out. Once again, please like, subscribe, send a message or a comment, and we'll go from there. This is Created by Chaos, signing off. If you're in Australia, Perth in particular, stay warm, stay safe. Chaos out.